Okay.
So I was beginning up your
Okay, great. But you're doing the invocation, right? You're the invocator, right? What happened? Okay. Good afternoon. We're going to get started. Please. Welcome to those that are present. Oh my gosh. And to those wonderful folks that are online. I don't know if any of you had the trouble I had. I know Cheryl did, and Connor is still on the road, but 77 both directions is like a parking lot. So I got on at Arlington, and it was like, oh my gosh, bumper to bumper, 3 lanes. So I went over the little bridge there at Arlington, and I saw the up ramp. So I went over the bridge, and the cones had been moved just far apart that I knew my car would fit through. So I put my flashers on, and I went down the up ramp. Back onto Arlington, scooted over to Main Street. I encountered a school bus, a fire engine, police, and it's like, oh my gosh, I think the good Lord was saying you don't need to be here today. Or something, or I've used up my 9 lives, or something like that. But anyways, thank God I'm here. So thank you all for being here this morning. This is an important meeting, and I know we have a lot of folks online, so welcome to our friends online. At this time, if I can get myself together and we can get the slides back up, Terry. He's getting it. Karen is going to be our indicator, so Karen, if you want to do our prayer first? Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I thought this was being a special day of the fact that we will do elections. There was in the Rotary newsletter in March, an article by Jennifer Jones, and one of the questions they asked her is, what is contemporary leadership and how does your style of leadership fit? And within that, she was talking about the changes we've had between COVID and the interesting things, and I could really see where her theme of Imagine came. But I thought this was interesting at the end. It says, we've learned how to be different and more appreciative of other people's experiences. As Rotary, that's what we've been good at all along. This is our time to shine. So look, I just wanted to lift up our international leaders and our local leaders and our club as we vote in new leadership.
Thank you, Karen. We've got a heck of a lot of static this morning, so I apologize. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Terry, the next slide we'll do our pledge, and which led is Hugh. Hugh's here. If you want to come forward, Hugh. Hugh will do our pledge and then our 4-way test, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
4-way test.
4-way test? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thanks, Hugh. You did a great job. Thanks, hon. Thank you. So I'll do any announcements. I have several of our wonderful members that are going to be doing little segments today, and we certainly will give our attention to those wonderful people that are going to take an active role today. Happy Dollars, somebody would like to kick that off? Maybe?
I'll collect, thank you.
Oh, Dave, thank you so much.
I'm happy to have those cash, I'll collect.
Connor's stuck in traffic, so you gotta be his backup.
Over here, is anybody happy? As Jackie's about to stuff his mouth a little more. Is anybody happy? I'll go back to you, Jack. Anybody else at the table? Malcolm? No. Okay.
Great to be here. Look forward to the election, going on the new side.
Thank you.
I have a happy dollar. I have a happy dollar for Cindy Dean. You got Don a nice birthday present, got it out to him. And I'm so grateful to have John Daly team.
Thank you. Somebody else? Thank you, said that. All right. Who's it?
And yeah, I'm happy because this weekend is another camp weekend with the kids that are going overseas or those who are inbound students. And I want to invite anyone who wants to come to spend the night in camp. Olivia was going to be able to do it, and now she's not. But if you would like to help out, like kids, this is your opportunity to put the kids back into yourself and help out those of us that are.
Anybody over here? Okay.
I wasn't here last week because we had a great Thanksgiving with our family, and my son-in-law and my daughter and my grandkids were there, and then they got to Cleveland to his family, and they all got COVID. So I'm grateful that we didn't, but I'm also grateful that they are recovering well and handling everything well and taking care of themselves and not that's my very happy about.
All right, thank you. Anybody else over here? Okay. Dave, you're always happy. And you always have a good
I have a happy dollar. Just want to thank those who signed up. We're going to do the Akron Food Bank project on the 21st of December, 4:30 to 6:30. I was a little worried because it's 21st, but I got about 10 people signed up, so if you're still interested, by all means, let me know and we'll get you added to the list. But happy that we're going to go through that before Christmas and work this.
And I did not formally plan anything afterwards, only because there's a holiday party the night before. But you guys, if you want to go out to eat, thank you. I know you want my permission. Dan?
Well, 24 years ago today was my first day as a Rotary Camp Board.
Anybody else here? Okay. All right, we're done.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Michael.
I'm
We
sorry.
gotta take her to.
This is what we have. Sure.
I just paid for 2 weeks ago.
I'll give $5 happy dollars.
Okay.
For Dan, that's fantastic that it's his anniversary, 24 years, and we both attended Slippery Rock University of Pennsylvania at the same time. So, you go, man.
Go Rock.
Yeah. I need to make up for a few weeks for not being here. One for Dan, though, of course. Congratulations, Dan. Very well deserved. You've made a real difference in the lives of our campers. No, I had a great Thanksgiving. 3 new great nephews were all there for the first time ever. They are starting to turn a year old today, and then 6 days from now and 3 months from now. So glad to be back in action. We're heading to Germany this weekend.
Anybody else? Are we good? All right.
Good, thanks. Thanks, Dave. Again, we'll be taking any extra donations to Susan. for our exchange student for her Christmas, correct, Susan? Okay, so if you'd like to donate any additional money to the gift buying for Yara and her Christmas, we'll celebrate that on the 20th. And then also, don't forget the bell ringing for Salvation Army on the 16th. And anybody would like to donate money ahead of time or join us, I'm quite certain that we probably need some more bodies to ring the bell. So if you would like to do that on that, I believe it's the 16th of December, and we'd love to have you. So it'll be a fun time. And we're inside, so you don't have to worry about being outside. So our meeting will continue on. Karen is desperately trying to do a head count, and
we're still at but Katie or text. We don't have form yet.
Not yet. Okay, guys, you better say your prayers. All right, Michael, would you like to do your treasurer's report, please, your financial?
Sure.
Please.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Linda. And Terry, if, there we go. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Can you read them? Everyone good there? Okay, perfect, perfect. A little bit small. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. Really appreciate and embrace the opportunity to be the treasurer. I don't know what year this is. It's been several now. So anyone that's interested in the treasurer role, next year or down the road, certainly would love to, have you learn more about that and kind of come under my wing for a year or two if you're interested. It's a lot of fun. I do really enjoy it. Okay, that's my plug. That is a nice way. I enjoy giving back to the club in that way. So I do truly enjoy it. So just want to do a quick recap of the end of Rotary year 2022, which ends June 30th of 22. As you can see here on this slide, our dues collected were $47,751.66. Total income for the year, $67,625.26. Admin expenses were $38,387.11, which is primarily international district dues, our lunch expenses, things like that. We had committee expenses totaling $18,674.66. Total expenses for the year last year, $61,155.08. So our net income at the end of the Rotary year last year was $6,516.96. On the balance sheet side, our cash position at the end of the year, $98,567.52. Our liabilities, which consisted mainly of kind of the dues that we collected, had yet to apply for the following Rotary year, as well as happy dollars, were $44,722.35. Thank you, Terry. Really appreciate you moving that forward. Our equity position, so assets minus liabilities, was $54,470.17. So overall, I think we are really well positioned from that standpoint. It was an incredibly challenging year last year. I think everyone could attest to that. A lot of tough decisions. Do we pause? When do we re-engage? Do we do in-person versus remote? And then, of course, the change of venue as well. So at this time, I certainly want to thank the past presidents, Bowie, McGregor, and O'Neill. They really guided the club through some very uncertain times, and they did a phenomenal job. Their guidance, really careful spending, put us on a really solid footing to allow us to continue to serve the community going forward. So great job with that. I did want to mention our tax returns, our 990 is posted on Club Runner and accessible to everybody. So if you want to spend more time with it, then kind of this would allow, you can pull that down. And please let me know. I can email it to you as well. Happy to take any questions on that or any concerns that you may have. So so that's kind of the year end, June 30th, 2022. I'll kind of in a similar way, I just want to recap kind of where we're at year to date for the club. This is as of October 31st of 22. Dues collected, $42,591.79. So that's down about $5,000 from this time, from the end of year last year. We still have more to collect. That's kind of an ongoing challenge that we have. But I think we lost right around 10 members, plus or minus, from last year to this Rotary year. Total income year to date, $52,109. Our admin expenses year to date, $14,076. Committee expenses year to date of $2,404. And then total expenses year to date were $18,099.14. So as of October 31st of this year, our net income for the club is $34,030.37. On the balance sheet side, our cash position at the end of October was $93,497.74. Our liabilities, mainly consisting of happy dollars, were $5,658. Thank you, Terry. And 20 cents. Our equity position, again, assets minus liabilities, we're at $88,500.54. And then just a few comments on the club's performance through October. Linda, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All the members of the board, I appreciate the support, all the help. We did kind of revitalize how we do the financial portion of that, and really for the help with going from bounce to our new home here. And ever since that first meeting here, this has felt like home. So it's really good. I think this is kind of more of a homecoming for a lot of us too. So that's pretty exciting. So one of the things that I'm closely watching this year is what the financial impact of this move has meant. So, I think it's a little bit early right now. We've got, we're tracking, I think, pretty close. I think we're always going to lose a little bit, a couple $100, maybe a month here and there based on what we collect and based, what the expense side is. But it's, again, a little early. We have a 25 paying member each week commitment. So again, the more folks that show up, the more people that are engaged, that will help us kind of meet that minimum. And again, it's a little early to project any shortfall. I mentioned we were down roughly 10 members from last year. The good part of that is, as a club, most of our expenses are variable. International district dues, things that we choose to do, we can control. With a few fewer members, that may limit our impact. But I will say, based on what we're doing, based on how we're tracking the budget, I don't see us missing a beat on any of that. So we're tracking really, really well. The club continues to be in solid financial footing as we approach year end, and I fully expect us to kind of come in at or maybe slightly above our budget when we get to the end of this year. So those are my comments. That's all I've got. So if there are any questions, happy to take any. Otherwise, thank you very much. And thank you, Terry. Appreciate it.
Okay, folks, we need 2 more people to make a quorum. Get on your phone, call your friends, call any fellow Rotarian that you haven't seen lately and beg them to please Zoom in. We need just 2 more people. Karen.
Terry's staying at a total camp, but right now we have Jamie Wade, Phil Manby, a certain junior and senior, Carol, Connor Jarvis, Dave O'Connell, Dr. Jerry Kiefer, Cinto, Nunez, John Margita, Carolina Pappas, Mario, Mark, I'm guessing Stewart, and Steve.
And Lansky was trying to log in.
You just have next to a couple of Rotarians.
So how short are we?
I'm waiting for Terry to give me the official count, because he said, and you said there were some people that were double, so I just chatted with them and said, make sure Terry has he's calculating it.
I just heard from Bill Mamby Jr., and he's trying to get his dad back on again, so.
And we're calling Dr. Rob too. He's gonna be-
Oh, Dr. Rob, yeah.
What about the minutes?
I'm sorry, Sandy?
I'm calling her, I texted you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, text those friends. 2 more, folks. All right, Dan, you're up, my friend.
Which Dan? Oh, there you go, which Dan?
Oh, you! I'm sorry, Dan, I'm sorry, you're both sitting right next to each other. I apologize, I'm sorry. Oh, gosh, please forgive me.
You're good.
I'm sorry.
You can go any order you want.
Okay, it's all yours, hon.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
You guys don't, you shouldn't sit next to each other.
We did that intentionally. It's more fun that way. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. On your tables, I had some handouts for you of some facts from Rotary Camp for this past season, or this past year, excuse me. And I just want to highlight a few of those things and talk a little bit more about some others. We served nearly 1,000 campers this year, which is exciting, and we would have been over 1,000 if we hadn't closed camp for a week for COVID. So, you know, we're glad that we're rebounding back. We have given out an unprecedented amount of financial assistance this year, over $108,000. We started 2 new key collaborations, one with Camp Promise, which is a camp for individuals with muscular dystrophy, and another with the LeBron James Family Foundation and the I Promise Village. These programs are helping us expand our definition of special needs. We have international staff again, which is really exciting. I think we had 5 staff from different countries this year outside of the United States, so that was exciting. And Kyle told me today he's looking to hire 8 or 9. I said, well, keep hiring. We had a remarkably successful in-person chili open, raising over $350,000. This money represents approximately 1/3 of the camp's operating budget. The success of the regatta was also, you know, phenomenal, and it's helping us make significant impacts on our waterfront to make it safer and more accessible for our campers and staff. Rotary Camp provides the club much support. We are your office, your telephone service, and your mail house. We go to the bank every week for the club and provide staff for meetings. We host the President's Galas. We host committee meetings, whatever the club needs at no charge. Additionally, the camp hosts multiple weekend campouts for the district youth exchange programs at no charge. And the most exciting thing coming up is our 100th anniversary. So 2024 represents 100 years of Akron Rotary Camp, and actually this coming summer will be our 100th summer season. So it's pretty phenomenal. As we look to 2023, the future is obviously very bright, but there are a few challenges that we need to work through. Number one is staffing. Anyone who works with frontline staff knows the challenges we are facing. Camp counselor recruitment is one of our biggest struggles. You know, as an industry, camping has changed what capacity means. Capacity used to mean the number of beds your camp has. Now it is the number of camp counselors you have. So it's real. Counselors this coming summer will make $500 a week. 3 years ago, that number was $285. So we are aggressively working hard to pay competitive wages, but it's still a struggle to recruit. And just generally, overall, our expenses are growing, you know, with the rate of inflation, I feel. And it's not only held to the rising cost of seasonal staff wages. All of our supplies and utilities, you know, they're all rising at unprecedented rates. I think it's important that we find new revenue streams, such as facility rentals or fee-based programs that support our summer camp and other mission programs. So, what can you do to help? The Chili Open. The Chili Open, as I said earlier, is our largest annual fundraiser, raising nearly 1/3 of our operating budget. We need your help to secure camperships, sponsorships, sell raffle tickets, collect auction items, run around town, you know, and gather items too. For 100 years, this club has supported our camp. This is the most important and influential thing we do as a club. It requires all of us to join in and support it. I also need you to share the great things we do at camp with your friends, family, neighbors, colleagues, nemesis, whoever you have out there. You know, please tell the good work that we're doing. They may know someone who could benefit from camp as a camper, someone that would be a great camp counselor, or even a donor. I also would love for you to come visit us when there are kids in camp. Santa Claus is coming, you know, next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, you know, and, you know, we'd love to have you there. There's over 50 families, I believe, signed up right now. So it's exciting. You know, our cookouts are every Thursday in the summer. You know, it's so important that you come to camp and see the impact and the good work that you're doing as Rotarians. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time today. And back to you, President Linda.
Well, pat yourself in the back. We did it. So, hallelujah. So thanks to everybody, especially all those great friends that are online with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We're so excited. Okay, at this time, I'm going to turn the mic over to Karen, and we'll get this taken care of. It's all yours. And Dan, thank you. Good news.
And who says your vote doesn't count? So we're going to start with our elections. The elections are run every year through a ballot, and the a third of the club needs to be together to ratify that group. And we vote for 3 legs of our stool. Dan talked about that we've been supporting the club. The club members need to be part of at least 51% of the board of directors for the camp. Sorry, camp, not club. At the foundation is all made up of Rotary members, and our leadership is all made up of members. So our executive team for this year, which will start July 1 to June 30th, will be President Tom Knauer, President-elect Thane Billow, Vice President Katie Miller, Secretary Terry Dalton, Treasurer Michael Gladys. And our new directors that are on a 3-year term are Laura Horowitz, Jerry Kiefer, Liv Pylon, and Cheryl Warren. We can keep going because we can vote for them all. The Rotary Foundation has one year term that they need to have filled, so Laura Smiley will be filling that. The Rotary Foundation has a couple 3-year term people, which is Doug Cole, Katie Miller, Rima, Mike Shearer, and then finally the Rotary Camp. Even though not everyone is a Rotarian, we vote on all of the board members. So Brooks Ames is a Rotarian representative. Rennick Androli is. Jetta is not a Rotarian, but we will ratify her as well. Susan Savage, the same. And then finally, Joe Swidakowski is a Rotarian. So President Linda, I make a motion to have that slate ratified.
Second.
We have a second from Jack Herrick.
Jack Herrick seconded. And then I'll just, since I'm up here, for Linda, I'll call for any discussion on the slates.
Karen, who seconded it?
Can President Linda have a vote of everyone to ratify it? Raise your hand. Online, Terry, if you'll just take the vote by people raising their hand there.
Is all in favor?
All in
We
favor?
have everyone.
Unanimous here.
Okay, we have a majority vote. Awesome. The second order of business that we have is last March. And I just wanted to thank, so the nominees are done by our last 5 presidents. So thanks to Steve Bowie, Dr. McGregor, Pat O'Neill, John Mergida, and Julie Brandel for their work in creating the slate for the club. So then the other thing is we already made the motion, but I will enliven the motion to pass the bylaw revisions that were presented to the club in March. And then you can take it from here.
Oh, we need a second?
Yeah.
Second. Oh, Julie seconds. Yeah. Any discussion?
You need to go to the lights, they can hear.
Yeah, please go to my, oh, sorry.
Okay.
Mike and I don't get along too well.
All right, any discussion? No, I'll call for the vote then. All those in favor of passing our bylaws that were presented back in March, please raise your hand. In favor? Online? Terry?
Can you tell me who?
Any opposed? Terry online?
Yeah.
Okay, motion carried, the bylaws are done. Hallelujah, Karen, only took some votes. All right, I'm gonna go back to my script, and my other Dan is going to give us another update. So, my other Dan, it's all yours.
Good afternoon. I'm representing the foundation. Doug Cole is the president, and he's not able to be here today. So I was asked to give an update on the foundation. The foundation is the Akron Rotary Foundation, which is different than the Rotary International Rotary Foundation. So there are 2 separate entities, and you hear quite a bit about Rotary International's Rotary Foundation. But we also have the Akron Rotary Foundation. And what does the Akron Rotary Foundation do? It supports the causes of the club, which is primarily the camp. So we have about $2 million under investment, and about half of that is designated or restricted for the use of the camp. And then the other $1 million that, give or take, that's available supports the club. And what the foundation's been trying to do the last several years is to be a catalyst for growth in the club, which would mean growth in the foundation and growth in the camp resources, that type of thing. So we have really concentrated on trying to motivate the club board, the president, to think about ways that the foundation can support the club. For example, I think in a brilliant move, Pat O'Neill, his presidential year, leveraged the contributions from the foundation by requesting that the foundation do a match for gifts to the Akron Food Bank. And I think it was about $6,500 that the foundation matched in funds, so that we've doubled the impact that we made on our community. The same year, we did the diversity for the minority-owned barbershops and salons that were struggling to get safety equipment and supplies to remain open and to remain viable and to continue to service the community. We raised nearly $5,000 from outside contributions, and the foundation matched that. So very good use of those funds. There was club involvement, and I think we, the 3 entities of the Akron Rotary Foundation, the Akron Rotary Club, and the Rotary Camp of Akron, need to make sure that we are tooting our horns, so to speak, to make sure that we're getting some credit for all the efforts that we do. Some of the things that the foundation supports from the club level is we reimburse for guest lunches. We pay $15,000 in scholarships, $1,000 scholarships to 15 Akron Public Schools students. We cover the exchange student program cost, which is a $200 a month stipend for the student. Plus, we will cover, if necessary, any of their Eastern or Western trips that are available to the exchange students. We cover RILA fees. We're also committed, budgeted to give the club $15,000 a year that we want the club to use that money, but use it in a way that promotes the club, promotes the camp, promotes the foundation, and most importantly, make a big impact on the community that we serve. And I think that message has to keep ringing year over year so that people know that that's what the foundation is there for. So all of that is all that we give from the foundation. There are opportunities to give to the foundation. Think about legacy, think about bequest, think about just a donation. We can set up any type of fund. We've talked about a club or a camp maintenance fund that would be an endowment. So we put the money in, the earnings would go to help the camp cover repairs on an annual basis, that type of thing. Or there's a small fund set up for anything related to the club. So, you know, if the club, it just goes towards the club's allocation. Any amount is welcomed. So big and little. So does anybody have any questions?
So where does primarily the funds come from that are currently in the foundation? Is it from the club? Is it excess? Is it just straight donations?
Currently it's straight donations. So originally back in 1994, might be 92, the foundation was set up. The camp at that point in time had some excess money, was a little worried about liabilities and exposure to those assets, so they created the foundation. But the camp at that point in time recognized that the club was the supporter of the camp, so they made it in control of the club. And so that money is carried forward for years. The Chili Open proceeds went into the foundation and grew the foundation, but most of those funds were spoken for because of the camp, because people giving to the Chili Open were expecting it to go to the camp. So those funds ultimately reached the camp at some point in time. And then the rest has been through investment growth, and we've had some considerable donations over the years, 100,000 at one shot, but mostly it's about, I think on an annual basis, it's just under $20,000 that we get, but most of our support comes from the investment earnings. So.
Is there, so previous to me in Akron, I was the Strong Club, and so they have a donation as well, and they have a recognition. So like if you give, like once you earn your Paul Harris, and then you can earn, and it's named after one of the founding club members. Is there anything like that to maybe encourage donation or try to, you know, help spread that word?
No, go ahead.
There is, for people that have committed to some plan giving, state gifts, that we did do a badge that will, recognize you as a legacy. It's a Centennial Society.
Centennial Society. I couldn't think of it. Yeah.
So, that was the only thing that we've done on a long-term basis. We haven't done anything for annual donors, so it's a good plan.
It is. Yes. I saw another hand. Yes, Jack.
A clarification. You said that you reimburse, the foundation reimburses the club for guest meals. Does that mean, as we used to do, we used to have, if we brought a guest, the first meal was free. Is that what
Yes, yes.
We need to have our members understand that, because the last few weeks I asked that question and was told that that program was no longer in effect. So I think it's for the club board to clarify that, and maybe even some of the clubs print little tickets, give it to their members, and it'll say, be my guest at Akron Rotary, or whatever it is. You can give somebody and say, will you be my guest, and here's your meal. When it was working, I think it helped us grow membership.
Yeah, and certainly, especially with the new digs that we have, I mean, this is a nice place to bring a guest, and it's a nice meal. The foundation is here to spur the growth of the club, because we recognize that if the club grows, people will think about the Akron Rotary Foundation as an opportunity to give back. That's kind of why we support the club. There's been a $15,000 allotment. Prior to about 6 years ago, it was $4,000. We, as the foundation, did not believe that was impactful enough, so we raised it to 15. Believe it or not, because the new presidents come in, and we've done a little bit better job of communicating, but the new presidents come in and they don't realize this catalyst that's in place, that's available. We want a long-term plan on how to utilize that grant money. Tom?
And is that $15,000 to be allocated at the president's discretion, or is it a board decision, or how is it?
It's a club decision, which the foundation expects to be approved by the board, and then we expect someone from the board, maybe the president, come to the foundation with the proposal. The foundation board considers that request, and then, we've turned down requests and challenged in the past and come back with better solutions or better spends. So
theoretically, any member can propose that.
Any member could go to the president or go to the board member and motivate that type of grant making. Of the club.
Go to the club.
What did I say?
It's good.
It's good
Of the
clarification.
club, yeah. Board member of the club, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I'm just gonna stand here. Tom is up next with update. If Terry can throw up the slide with Tom's name, that would be great. So it's all yours, Tom.
Thanks, Linda. Hi, everybody.
Hi,
I'm going to stand back because it seems like there's less static. I'm going to give kind of a membership minute update, if I may. We started this Rotary year with 126 members. The good news is we've had a couple of new members, including Angie, who's here with us today. Hi, Angie. And we have one member who's been approved and just yet to be inducted, so that's good. We have another person who is on the slate to be voted on by the board next week, and I anticipate that Chief Steve Millett, the police chief, will be invited to be a member, so that's good. We have another individual who's in the pipeline currently. The less good news is, I believe President Linda just sent out 6 termination letters, which are based on lack of dues payment. Now, that doesn't mean all 6 of those folks will be terminated, but if they don't pay, they will be. And I don't have much hope that they're going to pay at this juncture. So that could be a little bit of a setback for the club. To give some perspective, the last year we were at Portage Country Club, which I believe was 2018-19, we had 155 members. But then COVID hit, and it did take a toll on the club. It took a toll on a lot of Rotary clubs. I don't think we were unique in that regard. We have made some strides, and we're getting our feet under us. And I believe that moving here has been a positive impact on the club. I have anecdotal evidence to indicate our weekly in-person attendance is up a little bit from bounce. It's not dramatic, but it's up a little bit, let's say from 17 average a week to about 23 to 26 in the room, so that's good. My hope is that we could get more people in person, and it's kind of up to all of us to try to do that. I don't want to make anybody who's not present feel guilty or feel like we're trying to just crunch numbers, but I do think it would be nice if individually we can reach out to some folks we haven't seen in a while and just remind them that they're a viable, important member of the club. The club is better for their presence, and we sure would love to see them back in person and find out how they're doing and making sure they still realize that they're a valued member of Rotary. So that's kind of what we can do individually to try to encourage attendance in person. A couple of things that we have going on that I think could help. Linda and I are working together on a welcome packet, which we've long needed. And I think that'll help new members get acclimated to the club faster and feel a little bit more welcome and plugged in. We've also discussed the possibility of maybe a corporate membership or family membership, and I anticipate bringing that up to the board again and trying to move that initiative forward. We've talked about it. We've always found reasons not to do it, but I think maybe now is a good time to revisit that. And last, the idea of having maybe one morning meeting a month and float that trial balloon for 3 months or so and see if maybe it can allow some folks who can't get here for lunch to come. I plan on bringing that up at the board meeting as well, and maybe we can make a decision about whether that should be brought forward for a trial. So I think, generally speaking, the news is pretty good for the club. Michael indicated a good financial viewpoint, but getting more people in the room, I think, would be beneficial to all of us. So let's see if we can maybe do that going on into this remainder of this year. Any questions? Really? Okay. Mike?
Sure, I've not done a good job at extending and making an invitation, but are there ways or trying to get the word out there other than just, is it all just kind of Rotarian to prospective member?
I think in the current climate, that's probably the best way. We do have Club Runner. We can send mass emails, but I think that's pretty passive. So I think we're at a juncture where the personal touch might be best. One-to-one, if you know somebody that you just, how are they doing? Maybe approach it that way. Not, hey, we miss you, Rotary, get back in. I don't want to be shallow about it, but just, how's it going? We haven't seen you in a while, and maybe we can just make people remember how important they are to the club and how the club benefits from their participation. Mr. Herring.
Well, I'm really grateful that you are reintroducing some of these ideas of family and corporate memberships. Remember, we are the family of Rotary, and we really want to have our families involved, and that gives you an opportunity for generational growth also. I look over here, fame, 3 or 4 generations, 5 generations. I represent 3 generations. And Rotary is just something that is just a grateful family. I would encourage you to all look at your family members and invite them, and encourage the board to be proactive in getting these things done. The arguments that there's going to be a discount because it's a family, so we won't get as much money, I think it's both that. I think you'll find it'll go beyond that.
Liv?
Have we ever considered memberships, or at least something like a family membership for people under the age of 35 to make it beneficial? Because I know I have people that would love to join, but when they work for organizations or companies that won't help cover the costs, it's a lot.
I would say the bylaws committee is looking at that. We need to get these done, and now that they'll be meeting.
Remember, there's Rotaract also, and anybody under 35 would be looking at the Rotaract Club. Their dues are next to nothing.
Joint meetings of Rotary.
Susan.
And the nonprofits, often, you know, the nonprofits are a fairly low salary group, and I know they.
So are advertising executives. Okay, I want to leave enough time for Sandy to go over the survey results. Thanks, everybody, appreciate your time.
So I have a minute. So I'm actually gonna forgo my presentation and do the drawing. Julie, do you know if you were in the drawing? Everyone who answered the survey who wanted to be in the drawing is in this little envelope.
I did not.
Then I'm gonna have District Governor-elect pick the winner. The survey results are on your table. The most important result and change was this facility, which has been mentioned several times. So review that. The winner, and you have to be present, right? Linda, didn't you say you have to be present to win? Hugh Alpeter. Hugh wins a $50 gas card.
He's gonna need that when he's driving around.
Drive around for the chili.
I am.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. In respect of everyone's time, I am going to ask President Linda to maybe give me some time at another meeting. I want to do a teaser. In addition to reviewing the survey results, I wanted to do a teaser on the subject that Dan Riemenschneider brought up about wanting the club to be very inclusive and engaging regarding that $15,000 community investment that each president has. And President Linda has asked that the grant committee take this on so that there is a much more thought out and inclusive process. Every one of you, every Rotarian will have an opportunity to suggest a community recipient, and we'll be able to really review and see, to make that bigger impact, to be able to show the foundation that we are using that money in the best way possible for the biggest impact. So President Linda has asked Grant Committee to cover that. We will, and I'll come back with what we've come up with. Other than that, if you said on the survey that you wanted to be more involved in a committee, please know that your names are being forwarded on, if not already, they will be, to the chairs. If you volunteered but do not get an invitation, 10 of you forgot to tell me who you were. So 26 people said, yes, I'm interested in learning more about serving on a committee, but only 16 of you gave me your names. So we want you, we just don't know who you are, so please let everyone know. And with that, I will turn it over to President Linda.
And we'll talk about the foundation. Yeah, okay, good.
All right, thanks for everyone today. The rest of my slides we can share next time. It talked about all the wonderful things that we did, and I know that time is of the essence right now. So Sandy and I will tag each other and do our presentation at our next meeting. In reference to our Christmas gala, Paul, it's so good to see you here today. Thank you. Now, see, Paul is one of those guys that I reached out to, and he showed up today. So thank you, Paul. Thank you. I am working with Tangiers. I started before Thanksgiving, so I'm still waiting to hear from them on our menu. So I'm trying. I have yet to hear. I sent them an email as recently as yesterday as a follow-up. So I'm still working on the menu. We're looking at, just a minute, Hugh, we're looking at starting, Cheryl's recommendation is starting at 11:30 so we can have a little bit more time to socialize. We have a piano player, keyboard that will be here playing holiday music for us. We have, and thanks to the Akron Youth Symphony, we're going to have a quartet here playing for us, and I think Paul and your staff for helping to coordinate that. And so my hope is that you'll come and bring a guest. It'll be a joyous time. And again, I apologize, but that's all I have. So I'm waiting on our menu. So don't throw anything at me because I'm trying really hard. So I only can take it so far. But again, thanks to everyone for coming today. God bless the people that were online. Karen, thanks for doing a great job. I know it's been a challenge since last March with the bylaws. So, and congratulations to our new board, to all the new elected folks. And Cindy's going to do the 50-50. And any quick announcements from anyone? Yes. Oh, Hugh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
The holiday lunch will be the Tuesday before Christmas.
Correct, it's the 20th. It's the 20th.
So we can.
You can plan accordingly. It's been, Cheryl's, put it out there, and we're going to put it out many times as soon as we get that menu. So unfortunately, my hands are tied. So Kimmy, thanks for coming. She was another one I reached out to today, so thanks for coming. Okay.
Linda, do you have a second?
Oh, you exhausted. Tough job, Julie. 228.
Thanks,
943.
Oh, you're lost.
You?
Oh, who is it?
943.
943.
Uh-oh. Cindy again?
Is it you? It is?
That's 2 times in a row, isn't it? Woo! Congratulations. She's remember, she's our co-chair for the Chili Open, and she's looking for people.
Watch, I'll pull the joker. It's a jack.
I was thinking, no, that's too much luck. Again, any announcements? I'll see you
Yeah,
next.
Linda, it's Bill.
Thanks to everybody coming. Jack.
I want to congratulate Paul on the job that's being done on getting information out online and very great. Great job. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. If that's all we have a safe day.
Linda.
And stay out for
Linda.
77. The meeting's adjourned.